This is Sean Stevenson from the SeanStevensonModel.com, and you're listening to Justin and Kate at Extreme Health Radio, bringing cutting-edge fitness and nutrition information right into your eardrums. So buckle your seatbelts and listen in.
Welcome to Extreme Health Radio. Extreme Health Radio.
Where natural solutions to almost every health condition are out there. Join us on our journey to find them.
Now here are your hosts,
broadcasting from sunny Southern California around the world,
Justin and Kate Stellman.
All right, well, for the first time in, a month, that intro was actually correct. It is sunny today.
Thank the Lord.
I know, it's amazing.
The first sunny day I think we've had all summer and this early in the morning.
Yeah, this is so great. Very excited.
Way to start our day.
We're broadcasting worldwide from Southern California, so thanks everyone for joining us. You have ExtremeHealthRadio.com, and this is episode number 143. So you can just go to our website, /143, and check out the show notes, transcription, all that kind of stuff in time. Or if you have any comments about this show, you can go to that show page and enter them in the box at the very bottom. And if you have any questions, there's many different ways you can join the show. I'd love to have you join. You can email me, Justin, at ExtremeHealthRadio.com or
Kate, Kate, at ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
And another really cool thing we have is the voicemail feature. And some people use it, and it's really awesome because you can just record a message for the guest or for us right from your computer. So it's really cool. You can go to ExtremeHealthRadio.com /voicemail.
Super easy, a little button, user friendly.
Yeah, you just click on it and talk.
There you go.
That easy.
Yep, a monkey could do it.
If you'd like to support our show and you make purchases on Amazon, we'd love to have you do that. It's really easy, and you could do that every single time you make a purchase. Just go to ExtremeHealthRadio.com /Amazon, and that will help support our work. We'd be very, very grateful, and thank you to all of you who have been doing that. It's really helpful. And looking at our show schedule page, we've got lots of great guests coming up. Man, lots of just different guests. We've got Ty Bollinger. He's going to be talking about natural cancer treatment. So if you know anyone who has cancer,
which I'm sure we all do, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's, 1 and 2 is...
Gosh, I think that is the new...
something crazy like that. So Ty Bollinger, he's the author of Cancer Step Outside the Box, and his website's cancertruth.net. Really, really good guy, and we've had him on a few times. So that should be a good show. And then we've got Dr. Lawrence Wilson, and he's really a cutting-edge naturopathic doctor, and he's going to be talking about hormone balancing, nutritional balancing, blood testing, hair analysis, all that kind of stuff. And so if you have any health issues, make sure to ask a question for him. And then we've got Will, I think you say his name, Revek.
Okay.
And he's going to be talking about oral health and the connections to disease, pathology, and that kind of stuff. And his website's oralwellness.com. And he's based out of Hawaii, so that should be a fun show. And then today we have Estaryia Venus. Great name, huh?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, awesome name. Estaryia Venus, and she's the founder of Earth Consciousness Institute. She's a sound healer, meditation teacher, and she teaches the science of sound and sacred geometry in workshops and retreats, all kinds of interesting things. And so she's joining us today, I think,
from Virginia Beach.
From Virginia. Thank you so much, Estaryia, for being on.
Yes, thank you both for having me. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so did I get this correct? Do you live in Hawaii, but you're out there, or are you living out there now?
Actually, I live all over the world. I travel so much, but I do base out of Hawaii, and I do have a base here as well in Virginia Beach.
Oh, okay. You know, we've had a lot of guests on our show from Hawaii. Will Rivik, he's going to be from there, and
Dr. Kassar.
Dr. Kassar. I feel like we need to move out there or something.
Come on out.
We're tempted.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. We love to go to Kauai. What island are you based on?
Actually, I move around between the 4 islands. I've lived on all 4 islands. I spend a lot of time on the Big Island, and that's where I lead my sound healing rejuvenation retreats on the Big Island of Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
Very
okay.
cool.
Wow. So I don't even know where to start. Yeah, so that's where you do most of your retreats, and any reason why you do that there instead of the other islands, or is it just more conducive to it, or?
Well, actually, yeah, I do retreats in various locations in the world, but the Big Island of Hawaii is a very special location, and I do those annually. One of the things that we do on the Big Island is we swim with the dolphins there. So it's a full week or two if people want to stay for the 2 weeks, and we swim with the wild, very playful and loving dolphins. So we work with the sounds and the sonic healing from the dolphins, as well as then the entire week of rejuvenation modalities, including meditation and sound frequency healing and breath work and all sorts of wonderful things.
Wow.
Well, so there's something going on with the dolphins and sound, right?
Oh, yes. They're just so amazing. Their sonar, their very high frequency sound has such an ability to actually bring healing to the physical body. And there's actually been a lot of research that's been doing, and they're using dolphins now to help with healing of children with autism and all sorts of things, spinal issues. So it's still, it's still evolving and growing in the research and the ways that we can have interspecies communication and healing.
Wow. Is that true with other animals too, like whales and things, or is it just the dolphins in particular?
Yeah, it's definitely true with other animals too, as far as that interaction. But the dolphins seem to be really playing a very important role right now in the evolution of humanity.
Wow.
So how do you get the sounds from the dolphins? Is it the sounds that they hear, and how do you get those into people?
Well, when you're in the water swimming with them and they're making their sonar sounds, your body is receiving them.
Okay.
And it's very, very powerful. They're very telepathic. They, in an instant, can scan and they know what you're thinking, feeling, and if there's anything going on in your physical body that needs healing. And they really respond well to an open heart. So as we're close to them and near them in the water, they feel that heart resonance and will be communicating back with you and really giving you what you need sonically. That's been our experience in the retreats.
Wow, that's crazy. So they can actually, do they pick up other sounds? Like, do they have a different frequency that they actually hear, or how does that work?
Well, they're actually bringing in these very, very, very high frequencies, some that are audible to us and even higher frequencies that are inaudible to us, that they're vibrating and resonating. And that really relates to these higher states of consciousness. So the dolphins are actually helping us to activate our cellular DNA in these higher states of consciousness within us, because they're operating on a much more multi-dimensional a frequency bandwidth, you might say.
Wow, that's amazing. So what kinds of people do you have come into your retreats? Do you have people that are sick, or people that are just wanting to kind of be better or get better or things like that?
People who want to rejuvenate. Sometimes people have issues, physical issues that they want to get resolved, and I've had many people come to the retreats and resolve physical issues, including many things. One of them, you'd mentioned cancer. One of them, someone who had a brain tumor, got that resolved in the retreat. So that was wonderful. But yeah, so they come for healing. They come for just simple rejuvenation, time out, meditation, to have this awesome experience of being eye to eye with the dolphin, and which is one of the most profound experiences you can have, and to really take their life to the next level, because the Big Island too is just such a powerful energetic in and of itself. And so when we bring in all these healing modalities, we just create such an amazing container for spiritual growth and consciousness, and just really taking the life to the next level, wherever that is for the individual.
That's amazing. It's interesting. A while back, a few years ago, I heard David Wolf, who I'm sure you're familiar with, and
yes.
he said one time he was giving this story analogy of a lady who had cancer, and he said the lady just told him, she said, I'm just gonna leave everything I have. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm standing in a waterfall. I'm changing my life. And it's just amazing the power of intention, I guess, because I would imagine that, like you mentioned, cancer, that stuff responds on a physical level to your desire and intention to just change everything and make a radical change, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's really when it all comes down to it, it's about vibrational resonance. So the power of the vibrational resonance of the island, different places hold different vibrational resonances. And so we go to a place like that and we've already got some vibrational support from the resonance and that connection with nature and the environment. And then we go into, connecting in the retreats. When I lead the retreats, one of the things we do is we bring in that connection through the sound and balancing the brain hemispheres and making that connection so that we can really drop in and receive that connection with the earth and that vibrational resonance. And then, it's about clearing out those old limiting thought forms, because they're all the thoughts that we have, which then trigger the emotional states. When it comes down to it, is just a vibrational resonance. So if we can change that vibrational resonance that we're vibrating, we can change anything, and that includes dis-ease in the body.
I love it. Oh, did you want to say something?
I was just going to ask, how does your journey start with all this? Were you always interested in this kind of thing, or were you working a corporate job, or what was a little bit about your backstory leading up to this point?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's probably a loaded question.
Actually, for me, my background is in the performing arts, actually. I started performing dance performance when I was 11. And so that took me very rapidly to New York, where I continued with the dance and the performance, and also was studying acting at several of the acting institutions there. And then one day, I was really getting to this point. I was performing. That's what I was doing, going to acting school and performing dance. And I was coming to that place in my life where it was like, okay, I know there's something more. There's a next level to this. And then one day when I was out running, because I used to run about 3-4 miles several times a week, and I was just on my morning run, and suddenly I became very, very, very present in my body and in my movement. And so much so that I actually slipped through my body and merged with the vibrational consciousness field of the earth and the environment and the elements. Wow. And suddenly I experienced, which I know was my awakening, in this lifetime. And I experienced myself really expand. My body was still running. I could see that was happening, but my consciousness had expanded, and I was the sky, I was the trees, I was the earth. I had merged with, that unity field. And in that moment, it was like I knew what my work was in the world and what I was to do. And the message that I received was that I would be bringing through a system of movement and yoga with sound, and that I would be helping people to reconnect with the vibrational resonance of the earth and to help with this evolutionary process that we're in of rebalancing the masculine feminine energy, that electromagnetic energy, and coming into that unity consciousness. So wow. I came back into my body, and my life literally changed from that moment on. I remember running back home and told my partner at the time, what had happened, and moved very quickly to 1,000 acres of land in North Carolina, where I started receiving these movement and sound practices.
That's not a story you hear every day.
Yeah, wow.
That is intense.
Wow. So how did you get connected with the land in North Carolina?
Oh, gosh. We quickly got guidance to move there, and I did, and found this amazing place to live on this 1,000 acres of land, which was absolutely fantastic because, moving from living right outside of New York City, which was where I was at the time, to 1,000 acres of land in nature was just wonderful. And it gave me the opportunity. I immediately started fasting and cleansing. I was just, innately aware of the importance of the chemistry of the body and the pH and all of the ways that helps assist us in raising our consciousness and tuning in on these higher levels. So I started doing that and just receiving these practices that I would spend all day doing myself.
Wow, that is just a crazy story. So do you think that if we eat a cleaner diet, that our internal cells, I guess, what would you call it? Would it be more like an opening or it would resonate with the ability to have an open mind or
how does that play in?
Yeah, do you think that somehow works like that?
Yeah, it definitely is. The chemistry of our body affects our mood and our emotions and even our thoughts. And so when we keep our pH more in an alkaline pH, it allows us to be in that greater ability for us to connect in with a higher source, our higher aspects of ourself.
So did you get into like a raw food diet or a vegan diet, or what kind of diet were you doing at that time?
Yeah, well, right after I had my awakening, I immediately went into a vegan diet and started doing a lot of fasting and colon cleansing, and then went into periods of raw food. So on and off, and I'm still that way now. Right now, I'm still vegan, and then I go through cycles and periods where I eat more raw, 80%, and then go into phases where I stick to strictly raw. And I know for myself, I have noticed such an amazing difference. In the vibration becomes very, very pronounced when you eat a raw diet, let's say even for 2 weeks. And if you eat something cooked after that 2 weeks of being completely raw, you notice the vibrational downshift in your body. The lower vibration of the cooked food, even a steamed vegetable. And I remember the first time I experienced that, it was pretty profound because I thought, come on, steamed broccoli.
Right.
It's not raw. I don't even have a sauce on it, like how bad could that be right now? Because I was just, 2 weeks. And I remember I was at the health food store and they had, the buffet and the cooked food was just drawing me over. And I thought, wow, little steamed broccoli. And I had it and I immediately felt the lowering of my vibration.
How does that feel? Like, I've never experienced that, I don't think. Can you describe that in any way that would clarify it?
Well, it feels like when I was on the vibration of the raw food was keeping me in a very high frequency state, very clear, very energized, very high. And then as soon as I had that steamed broccoli, it just lowered. It was just like a lowering of that high energy level. Just a notch, not, it's not like I ate a piece of pizza.
Right. Then you would have been laid up.
Would take it down even more. But, everything has a vibrational resonance. And so, rose, the frequency of rose oil is such a high vibrational resonance, one of the highest frequencies. So, when we're taking in foods that are completely null and void of nutrients and are on a lower vibrational frequency, it lowers our body's vibrational frequency. So we always want to eat at the vibrational frequency of where we are or higher.
Do you think that all that colon cleansing you did before kind of opened you up to be able to feel the subtle little differences?
Yeah, and the sound, work that I do is a very big key and very subtly fine-tuning our vibrational system and raising it to these higher frequency bandwidths.
Wow. It's interesting. I heard a while back, I think it was again from Mr. David Wolf. He's like the resource for everything. But I think I heard him talking a while back about how they play sounds to plants. Have you heard about that?
Yes. And gosh, I could tell you so many interesting stories about the plants.
I love it.
And so, but one of the things too, I think the important thing to mention about that is, going back to consciousness and resonance and this broader idea of that. And the idea, they have done studies that shows that they've hooked up brainwave frequency monitors to food. And so what they've done is they've been able to gather this research that shows that when we do not pray or say a blessing to the food before we eat it, that the food actually feels the pain. It goes into stress. And that's picked up into the EKGs that they put on there, the monitors, on the brainwave monitors. And that's a really profound research study that just really proves that the earth is a living consciousness. And that's a vibrational field of consciousness. And so, connecting and communicating to not only our water, which is so important, but also to the food before we eat it. And so they showed that how the food responded when we do acknowledge it, before we eat it, that it just totally relaxes and goes into this coherent state and kind of surrenders. And you could also say that when we do that, that would mean that the food would be also much more, able to metabolize it for us too, right? Because there's a receptivity there.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. We got to take a little break here, but all of that information is just so fascinating. If nothing less, it'll just remind us to be more grateful and thankful for our food that we eat every day. Mm-hmm. And, I heard, again, I think from that, but there's a book, Secret Life of Plants, where the plants would actually anticipate someone coming towards them with a pair of scissors, Mm-hmm. So there's all this interesting stuff going on with the world that we think we know, but we probably have no idea about.
Yeah.
But so we're talking with Estaryia Venus, and I forgot to mention her website, and I apologize for that at the beginning of the show. It's Estaria.com. So it's Estaria, Estaria.com if you're interested in her work. And we'll be right back with Estaria right after this break. I do a lot of weightlifting and lifting heavy weights at the gym, and I love it. But there's also another side to working out, which actually helps you increase the energy in your body. As you know, in our culture, just about everything is a stress to our body. It depletes us of life force energy and our energy in general, whether it's, coworkers or getting to work or dealing with difficult family members, things like that. All of these things cause stress and energy depletion in our body. And something like Qigong is a really great way to help cultivate your inner energy. And it's been practiced by people in the East for thousands of years. It's put together by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar. You can find it at extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, which is Qigong. And it's called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. And I highly recommend getting this product. It comes as a physical product to your house with really great DVDs and workbooks on how to do this ancient art of cultivating your inner energy and building that core energy of your body. And it's been practiced, like I said, for thousands of years. So I highly, highly recommend checking it out. If nothing else, just go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, Qigong, and get on their mailing list because they'll send you lots of free information as well. So check out Peter Ragnar. He looks amazing for how old he is. He's been doing this for like 60 years or something. It's really an amazing product. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/Qigong.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
All right, we're having a good time here with Estaryia Venus, and her website, if you're interested, again, is Estaria.com, and that is Estaria.com. And I just want to let you guys know also about that ad that we ran for the Qigong. Really, really amazing course. We had Tristan Truscott on the show, and he was episode number 127. If you're interested in learning more about the Qigong, it's a really great course. We have it and do it all the time. So I highly recommend it. It's really, really good stuff. And as the lady said, also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook. We'd love to have you join our community and support us that way. And I think, Kate, didn't you have a question?
Well, I just kind of wanted to switch gears a little and go into the sound and how that all works, because that's what I'm very interested in. Estaria, say someone like myself who doesn't know a lot of what you do exactly, and I came to you and just didn't know anything, and I wanted to work with you. What would that look like for a person? Maybe for a retreat or a personal, kind of meeting with you. How would you start someone out on a journey?
Of course, to find out what their personal intentions are and if they have anything going on physically.
Okay.
But the work with the sound actually addresses all levels, the physical, the mental, spiritual, and emotional. And I have, lots of different ways that I work with the sound and with energy healing. One of the ways that I work is with the very precise sound frequencies that are the frequencies related to the harmonic structure of nature. So very specific frequencies, the elements of nature, planetary frequencies, and then frequency patterns that actually have the ability to very quickly bring us into a coherent rhythmic state in our body. And that's one of the key factors in health and longevity and healing, as well as the clarity, having that sense of calmness and clarity of mind. With working with the brainwaves is a very key aspect of that. So that's one of the ways that I work.
Okay.
So, Estaria, what was the reasons, do you think? You were just talking about the way you work with people with sound, and you said that a lot of times what happens with people is they get this incoherence going on in their body. I guess there could be a lot of reasons for that, right?
Yes, a lot of reasons. Mental stress, emotional stress, anxiety, but it really all feeds into a circle. Even the electromagnetic frequencies and radio waves out there from the technology can actually scatter our brain hemispheres and create this state of incoherence. And yeah.
So I would imagine, like, also people, and probably you before, when living in New York City, but people are just stressed out of their minds, and I'm sure that is a huge problem with this coherence that should be in their bodies, right?
That's right. And, it's so easy, actually, through sound vibration to bring us into a state of coherence. And that's the beauty of it, because we do have all this stuff going on in our field, the stress of daily life, the electromagnetic energy, all of these things. And the body starts producing the stress hormone cortisol, and then the body can't really function at its optimum. The cells can't do their work as optimally. The detox of the body can't happen as optimally. So all the cellular functions are in a bit of chaos when we're incoherent. But with the sound vibration, we can actually bring ourselves into the state of coherence within 5 minutes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Now, I would definitely think that musical instruments play a huge part in sound therapies for people. Is that correct?
Yeah, the
different vibrations.
Yes, but one of the foundational principles is really working with the resonance itself, the very precise frequencies, and then the way that those frequencies are combined with other frequencies and the interval or relationship that's created between them then makes a very profound difference between one and the other. To awaken certain aspects of consciousness or to produce certain rejuvenating results in the body. So it does have to do with the precise frequency and then how that frequency is combined with other frequencies to create intervals. And both of those things are very important aspects of it.
So it's very specific, very tailored to each individual person then and what's going on. We don't all resonate at one. Okay. Wow.
So it's interesting. I was just learning recently about all this stuff that's going on with not sacred geometry. What's the I'm drawing a blank. What is the name of that string theory and all that stuff? Quantum mechanics and all that. It's crazy how when you get down to that subatomic level, everything is just frequency. And I'm sure you know all about that, but just amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly where it's at. Everything is just frequency. It's a vibrational resonance. So we can heal our bodies through vibration. And we can change our thoughts. And with the sound, one of the things in the practicalities of our daily life, when in those places of high stress, and we can use the sound to balance the brain hemispheres very quickly and connect the brain and the heart into the state of coherence, what it also does is it balances the mental activity and really helps to relieve not only the stress, but depression and thoughts. I mean, it opens a doorway that we can actually have more positive thoughts and tap into higher states of our intuition and deeper insight, so that we can actually change the vibrational resonance of our body when we change those foundational thought forms that we're having.
Wow. So would this be considered a way to, I guess, access your subconscious mind so that you can retrain, kind of like what Bruce Lipton talks about, where you can start retraining your thoughts and how you view your life and things?
Absolutely. It's exactly that. We're accessing that subconscious state of mind so that we can possibly, the awareness will come in, the thought form of the awareness. And then in that state, we have a greater ability to be able to be non-attached to it and to actually process whatever emotional energies might be attached to that, so that we can allow that to be released from the body and then choose the higher frequency thought.
Wow. So when you're driving through the city in New York and you hear someone listening to rap music in their car, it's just booming, are you just shaking your head or?
Well, I either close my window.
Yeah, first thing.
Or I just find the humor and I just, go with it and have fun.
You probably have to.
No, that's funny. But yeah, so this sound frequency, it's able to access your subconscious mind and I guess retrain it. And what else is it doing to the body? It's just calibrating your brain waves and connecting the two hemispheres, like you said, and it's probably doing a lot more than we even know, right?
Well, it's very deeply releasing deep stress and tension from the body. And that's very important for the body to heal and for cellular repair. When our bodies are producing cortisol, the stress hormone, the body cannot focus on cellular repair. And, when we're sleeping, everyone has always heard, how important it is for us to go into that deep REM state cycle of sleep because, we need that for the body to repair and rejuvenate. Well, that's absolutely the truth. And it's extremely important for us to go into that state. That is the delta brainwave state. And so in that delta brainwave state, it's that deepest state of relaxation and stress release so that the stress hormone cortisol is completely released and now the body can focus on cellular repair. So if you're not getting into that sleep cycle of the delta wave, then the body is not going into that place of rejuvenation and healing, cellular repair at the level that it could be and needs to be for us to continue to evolve these human bodies into its next level.
Yeah, yeah. So what are the different waves? Like there's the theta wave, right? And there's a few others, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's the alpha wave. Alpha brainwave state is the brainwave state that we're in when we're meditating.
Okay.
It's the brainwave state that we can very quickly go into when we go down to the beach. Okay, because the rhythm of the ocean, the tides, is actually in an alpha brainwave. So that immediately takes us into that state. So the alpha brainwave, we go into this relaxation, we begin to relax, we begin to release the stress hormone, cortisol, and we access this meditative state. The mind begins to quiet down, and all of this begins to boost the immune system, of course, because now the immune system can function better because some of that stress hormone is being released. We're coming out of the fight or flight chaos energy and into this relaxed place where the deep muscle tension can start to release. So after alpha, we go down even deeper into theta. Mm-hmm. And theta is the brainwave state that we're in right before we go to sleep and right when we wake up. So that's that transitionary state, and I'm sure a lot of people have had the experience of the epiphany coming in first thing upon awaking, you know, in that state that only lasts for a few seconds. That epiphany, because the theta state is accessing that deeper subconscious mind. And so we can get the answer to a problem, we can receive that guidance for an issue that we're working on. And it's very powerful for reprogramming that subconscious mind to those more elevated thoughts.
And then let's say we're just waking up and then we go throughout our daily life, we go to work. What is the brainwave at that point?
Okay, in that state, in the just normal waking state, that's the beta brainwave.
Okay.
And the beta brainwave is great. We need it. You know, it's important for us to have those beta brainwaves mixed in. It allows us to focus and have clarity in a more linear way. Okay. The problem with the beta brainwave is when we get too high of beta brainwave, it gets too speedy, the frequency gets too high of that pulse rate of the beta, and then we can start spinning out. So what we want, and what I have created in the brainwave sound therapy, sound vibration CD and MP3 set, is a very low beta brainwave, so that we are just above the edge of alpha, where we're in that relaxed meditative state. So we're relaxed, but we're also very alert and focused.
Okay, so that would be the brainwave state that you'd want to be in, because you'd still be able to do your work every day and interact with people, and still also have the healing benefits of being in the alpha.
Right, because what we'd be doing is you'd be in beta, you'd be very clear and focused and alert, but being in the placement where I have it right there near the alpha, you're in a more relaxed beta. And that's the thing with beta, is beta, we can get stressed with it. It can be too high, too much beta. So we want to bring it back into that lower vibration so that we can be relaxed and alert.
I love it, because there's just so many different tools. When I first got into health, it was just all about diet, you know, and then once you start realizing that the raw food has more energy coming off it through Kirlian photography, and then you start learning about energy and vibrations, and then you get into this stuff, and there's all kinds of different healing modalities. And this is just really cool, because it's like it's one more tool that we can use to access that brainwave being very calm and healing. And if we can have that throughout the whole day, it's almost like just you're getting that healing.
You're creating a different life for yourself, really.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So your work helps to, people can listen to these sounds like at night and still have the effects the next day, or how does that work?
Oh, yeah. So let's say before going to sleep, a good thing to do would be the delta brainwave state. So you use the delta wave CD and you bring your brainwaves into that delta state. So people with insomnia, it's greatly helpful for that. People tend to be able to fall asleep very quickly when normally they are not able to do that. And also, it just, even if you don't have insomnia, to bring yourself into that just helps you to be able to access that state, that deep REM state, so that the body can do the cellular repair. And so you wake up the next day feeling like you've had the rest, you know?
I love it. I love it.
And then what happens is you wake up and then you can use the theta state because, I mean, I know I treasure that theta state upon awakening. I really love that state because I tend to get a lot of insights right when I first wake up. So having the theta wave right next to you that you can actually, just as you wake up, play the theta wave either in the room with speakers or, you know, on headphones, put the headphones on. It works both ways. And just keep yourself in that prolonged theta state. And before getting up and starting the day, allowing the insights to come through, you might have recall on some important dreams that you had during the night. And it's also a great way to set the tone for the day, to tune into your intentions and go ahead and energetically set those vibrations of what it is that you want to create into the day.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So we're going to take a little break here, but can people listen to those? Like, would you recommend that they listen to them on maybe their iPod and then get into bed, or actually play it out of a speaker while they sleep?
Both works great. I have people using it that they actually also play it on a speaker and they put it on repeat and they keep it going all night. Oh. That's another way to use it. Or you can just get into bed, put on the headphones and listen to it, and then just as you start to fall asleep, just take them off. Okay. And sit them on your dresser. It just, you know, there's so many ways that you can do it.
Oh, I love it. Wow. I love it. Okay, we're going to take a little break here. Her website is Estaria, ESTARYIA.com, and we'll be right back after this break. So a few years ago when I was working for this company, it was a really small company, and I had been wanting a Vitamix blender for years and years and years, but they're so expensive, and I just hadn't saved the money at that time to get one. And so as a Christmas bonus, they knew that I loved the Vitamix, so they got me a Vitamix, the 5000 blender. And that thing is so incredible. It was right at the beginning of my raw food journey, and I was using it about 3 times a day, really. Today, I still use it about twice a day to make blended smoothies and things like that. But the Vitamix blender is really, really great. And if you go to extremehealthradio.com/Vitamix, that will redirect you over to there, and then you'll be able to purchase that, and we'll get a commission for your order. And you'll also get free shipping too, so that'll be great for you if you're interested in saving about $25 on the shipping. And with the Vitamix, you can make sauces and dips and bread. You could make ice cream with it. I've done a lot of ice cream. You can just make the most incredible things. And it's my favorite because it's got a tamper on it. And you can put ice and frozen berries and avocado and some honey and things like that, and with no water at all, and you have that tamper, and you can make the most amazing ice creams with it. So the Vitamix is my favorite blender of choice, and if you're in the market to buy one, I would greatly encourage you to do so if you have the money for it. And if you do it through us, through extremehealthradio.com/Vitamix, I'll get a little commission for it, and you'll get free shipping. So it works out for you and for us too. So if you're in the market, please do it through us. That'd be really cool. And you're going to love this thing when you get it. You're going to fall in love with it. You'll never go back to a regular blender again. So check that out, extremehealthradio.com/Vitamix, and I hope you enjoy it.
All free shows, all the time on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
All right, we're having having a good time here with Estaryia Venus. And I just wanted to remind you guys to always check out the sponsors that we run ads for, because without those sponsors, there is no free show. And all of our shows are brought to you for free of charge. You can download them and send them to your friends, whatever you like. They're completely free. And that's how we support ourselves. So please take a look at those sponsors, like that one that we just ran for the Vitamix. Amazing machine. I'm sure if you're into health, you know about the Vitamix, that's for sure.
Yes.
So we love ours, and just an amazing machine. So make sure to check those out, and it really helps to support our show. And as the lady said, don't forget also to sign up to our newsletter list. We're giving away a really, really good ebook by John Barron called Lessons from the Miracle Doctors, with all kinds of natural treatments and cures for things, and just an amazing ebook. So make sure to sign up, and I'll send that to you immediately. You can download that. And I think, Kate, did you want to ask about meditation or some of those sounds that you were just listening to?
Yeah, well, during the break, we were listening to some samples. I love how you have that on your product page, Estaria. They're beautiful. I could see myself getting a lot from that, and I'm going to look into that. For people like me, I'm pretty new to meditation. I'm very new, actually, and I'm still kind of trying to delve into that world. But, I mean, what do you do when someone like myself comes to you and just says, I just can't turn off my brain? I mean, I'm sure it's through a lot of practice and just time, but what are a couple of the first steps into meditation that you would recommend for people just to kind of quiet that inner storm going on in our brains?
Yeah, well, the most profound and fastest way is really with the sound vibration. The brainwave entrainment, brainwave sound therapy set, taking ourselves into alpha and theta brainwave states. Those are the two I suggest for meditation. Quickly, within a matter of 5 minutes, actually, brings us into that state of meditation where we can access, our intuition and deeper insights and creativity.
And that was the alpha and theta?
Yeah,
okay.
The alpha and theta are really great for bringing us into that place very quickly. And we actually had the technology tested. We did a study through the nonprofit Earth Consciousness Institute and with the heart math equipment, and it showed that everyone went into brain and heart coherence within 5 minutes or less. And so when we're in that heart coherence with the brain and in that alpha or theta state, we're in that state where we are accessing that place of meditation. And so we don't have to have an hour anymore, and people don't really have a lot of time, we really need, or, have to breathe for 30 minutes to start to get us into that state. We can just quickly reach that state so we can open up and use it.
Is there a proper or a better time to meditate than other? Like, is it best before bed in an ideal world, or what do you think? Is it better in the morning to get more energy or revive from that, or what is your recommendation?
Yeah, in the ideal world, it'd be first thing in the morning upon waking up.
Okay.
And a quickie in the middle of the day, even if it's short, just something to tune in and retrain, and then again before bed.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I could get into this.
So for a busy person, how long would you try to do each one of those?
For a busy person, even 15 minutes in the morning, and then a 10-minute in the middle of the day, and then another 15 at night. Now, another thing for a busy person is I have so many people now, the nanos, the little square nanos that you can clip on, and you can put your music on there. I have people using my music. Now, one important thing I want to mention is that the music cannot be listened to while driving or doing anything with, heavy machinery or anything like that. The music is, definitely cannot do that. But what I have people doing with the nanos is they're using it for their exercise and yoga. They're using it while they're actually at work, having it clipped onto them and having one earbud in and actually keeping themselves, if they're working on the computer, they can keep themselves in the beta state, or if they have a few minutes and they can just they want to go deeper, they need, they're feeling a little bit more stress, they need to go into alpha, they can just switch it on. And even 5 minutes of that retrains the brain into that state.
Wow, that's amazing. So this alpha wave, the one Brainwave sound therapy, Alpha Wave, the product I'm looking at. How long is that? And is that the one to use for meditation?
Yes, that's a great one for meditation. That audio program has 2 files. Each one is 30 minutes long, and each one has different frequencies. So not only are we receiving the brainwave entrainment and going into the alpha state, but we're actually receiving specific frequency harmonics that relate to the earth and the human body that actually help to awaken consciousness. It's like turning on a radio station inside of the cells, that particular frequency code. So it's starting to retune the body to the natural frequencies.
So you would use maybe one track for maybe the evening and one track for the morning, or do you just kind of switch up the tracks, or how does that work?
Switch up whichever, switch up whichever one you feel more resonant with. There are different tonalities, with the frequencies.
Okay.
So they're
Would that be the same one people would get to use if they wanted to play it all night long while they sleep, or would that would probably be a different one?
Yeah, that's a different one. The one for sleep is the delta wave.
The delta wave, okay.
And there's 2 frequency patterns on that as well, 2 options.
Okay, and I guess you could probably put, if you had like a little speaker system for your iPod, you could probably put that in and just have it repeat.
If you wanted to sleep with it.
All night long, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, you must have all kinds of crazy things going on when you go to sleep.
I love it.
Yeah, well, it's like I've never had any problems sleeping. And just about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I was actually finding myself laying there. All of a sudden, I was like, okay, why am I awake? And then I was like, oh, use my music.
I am a sound person. What the heck?
Because I was laying there going, but it was so weird because usually I fall asleep. My head hits the pillow. If I close my eyes, I'm asleep in like 1 minute, and I'm like one of those. So this was very odd. I'm laying there with my eyes open going, this is weird. I'm awake. So I put my music on, and it was great. And the way that I did it was I had the headphones, and I just put them on, and it didn't take long. And within, however many minutes, I started feeling myself going into that state, and I just took them off and sat them on the bed next to me, on the nightstand, and fell right to sleep. So
Right.
Wow. So the delta would be for going to, actually during the night while you're sleeping. And then the theta wave was what you were talking about earlier, where you could actually listen to it for a few minutes right when you wake up.
Yes, and also anytime during the day that you just want to have a deeper meditation. Alpha is a lighter meditation state, and then theta is going into the subconscious. So you can do a lot of healing work on yourself too. So if you want to intentionally, get some clarity about something on a deeper subconscious level, you'd want to use the theta. And the music is also, of course, great for people who are doing healing work on others because it trains both of you into that state.
That's interesting. It's fun. Oh, did you want to say something?
Oh, I was just wondering, do a lot of massage therapists use these? I bet.
Yes, a lot of massage therapists, Reiki, hypnotherapists, psychologists. Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny. I was just kind of making a joke about how you sleep, and I bet, I was going to say or ask if you do any of the grounding technologies with the grounded sheets and things, but then I just realized, that is frequency itself, because the whole idea of the grounding is to allow the Earth's electromagnetic frequencies and fields to come up into our body. And so it's all frequency when it's just all coming together here.
Yes, absolutely. It definitely grounds us. When we bring ourselves into that brainwave state, literally of the earth, now we're actually grounded and we can actually receive the energy. So what starts happening over time, it's very rejuvenating because we're able to actually receive and absorb the energy, the pulse waves of energy that are coming into the earth at this time. If we have subtle muscle tension in our body and mental confusion, we're not able to more easily assimilate and absorb the light and the energy that's coming into the planet. So by going into these brainwave states, we ground, we begin to merge with the pulse wave of the earth. So we're able to receive that energy, and we're able to receive the energy from the earth and feel the flow of that energy. So we're not expending energy. We're actually can feel the pulse wave of energy coming from the earth, and we allow that energy to flow through us and into our actions.
I love it. I love it. And so you're also into sacred geometry too, aren't you?
Yes.
You can't be into sound therapy without really being into sacred geometry as well.
Yeah. Since it's all frequency, and the universe and the cosmos is shape and form and frequency and vibration.
Yeah. It's funny too, because our bodies, they say, are 70% water, and what the whole work of Masaru Emoto with the water and all that. And so it's interesting that our bodies would naturally resonate being just bags of water to these frequencies.
Yeah, that's why it's so powerful using the sound too, because the water is a conduit for energy and sound, and that sound just travels. And when we're talking about the water, I think one of the things that we always want to keep in mind is that water is not just water flowing through the body, but that water is water surrounding all of our cells and our DNA. So this is cellular consciousness here, the water in our bodies. And we can very quickly and easily shift the frequency of that cellular water in our bodies and program in these positive, loving thoughts and vibrations with our emotions and our thoughts.
Imagine if everyone, how better the world could be, a better place if everyone implemented, or not even just half the people in the world implemented some of these. Gosh, think about what could happen. That's amazing. Getting the word out.
So what are some other ways that people can use these types of sounds maybe that we haven't talked about? Like, could they use it with their water? Or I'm sure there's lots of different ways people could use these sounds.
Yeah, it's a great thing to use it with the water. I suggest when people, before they drink their glasses of water, you can actually put the frequencies on in the background. However, you're broadcasting the sound frequencies, and just with your own intention, allow the water to receive those sound frequencies and come into that coherent state. And on top of that, on doing that, also send in your loving prayers into the water.
Wow.
That's interesting. Do you think that people need to have, or it would be more beneficial, I should say, if people had an open mind in terms of how this stuff works? Because I wouldn't imagine that people that come to your retreats would be very close-minded, would they?
I think they really have to be open for some, transformation and shifting into more light and more joy.
Yeah. So just the very act of believing is going to change things as well.
Yes. Yeah. The very act of being open, you don't have to have a solution to anything, it's just being open to that universal pulse of energy from source and connecting into that unity field and into the all that is, and that place where we are all connected into, and allowing the healing to just happen, or the clarity. It's all there. It's just really a matter of letting go and releasing the stress. The stress is such a huge factor that blocks us from being in that connection.
Yeah, that's so just crazy, because I can just imagine people driving and being stressed, and it's just, there's so much of it with people's work and their job, and being able to, I guess, retrain your subconscious brain so you don't have that attachment to whatever it is you're stressed about would and this would really help to do that.
Right.
Yeah, it's like an instant little bliss, just calms everything down, and really is helpful in the practicalities of being able to make better decisions in our life. Because as we know, if we're really stressed out and spinning, that's not the place that we want to be making decisions from.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. So people can actually go on to your website and just download and get these things just immediately. Is that how it works?
Yep, it's an instant download.
Instant download.
Easy.
Wow. So you said that they're about, I think there's 2 files with these different brainwaves ones, and they're about 30 minutes each. Is that right?
Well, each for the Brainwave sound therapy set, you get 4 audio programs, and each audio programs has 2 MP3 audio files. So you're actually getting 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 8 different frequency patterns and brainwave patterns.
Is that
so? 2 for each brainwave state.
2? Okay, so 8 of them. And then is that the very first product on your store at the top left there?
I think, well, no, actually, I think the top left might be the Venus waves. That's another brainwave state. And that one is also, it has alpha, theta, delta, and beta brainwave state, plus 2 additional CDs and MP3s. That one is based on the frequency of Venus. And that frequency is with other earth harmonics combined, and I bring in the brainwave technology so that we go into the brainwave of alpha with the Venus frequency and other earth harmonics, as go into theta with the frequency of Venus, into delta, into beta. And the reason why Venus, why Venus, the planet Venus, why is that so important that I would create, this 6 CD set? And that's because Venus plays a major role in the evolution of humanity on this earth. It is directly related to the activation of the cellular consciousness inside of our DNA. And we could do almost an entire call on that.
Yeah, that just sounds fascinating.
On Venus. Wow.
So very, very important to be tuning ourselves with the frequency of Venus. But while we tune to the frequency of Venus, why not tune to it in the optimum brainwave states so that we can have that higher state of consciousness awakening?
That's interesting. It's because as you're saying that, it kind of reminds me of, I think right now is either a full moon or right around a full moon.
Yes, we are.
Would these frequencies have a different effect? Would they be affected by the moon or not?
Oh, well, that's so, good that you brought that up with the moon frequency. The time of the full moon is such a powerful time of illumination, right? So the new moon is planting the seed, and the full moon is the time of the higher awareness. The full moon is like the magnifying glass, right? So it's bringing awareness to our emotions and our thoughts and our feelings. And so, yes, using the sound frequencies and being in that state of receptivity with the alpha, theta, and delta, that's perfect so that we can receive through that portal of the full moon that higher state of awareness that the full moon brings us.
Golly,
we have the opportunity. The doorway is there. So again, it comes back to, are we going to let go of the mind and the stress and bring ourselves into the calm, clear state of the mind, release the stress, so that we can receive these very subtle pulse waves of energy that are coming in and are available to us.
I love it.
It's all connected, isn't it?
A lot of good stuff. So people can
one
work.
One more thing is the moon. Wonderful, wonderful. The delta brainwave on the website is the planetary frequencies MP3, which has the frequency of the moon on it in a very, very deep delta brainwave.
Oh, I see that.
So that way we can actually tune with the moon during the full moon time and the new moon.
Wow, this is really cool stuff.
Who would have known?
Wow. Yeah, this is good. So people can work with you on an individual level, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I work long distance via Skype or telephone. I also do, live sessions. Sometimes people come and do personal retreats with me, 1 to 5, 6, 7 days, just depends.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. All right. Well, thank you. That was just so amazing. I really appreciate your time, and I'm so glad you're not in Hawaii because it would be too early.
Yeah. Thank you both so much.
Thank you so much.
So what did you think of Estaryia Venus? She's pretty awesome.
Her presence is just soothing.
Yeah, she's doing some really interesting stuff. That's
Isn't
for sure.
she?
Yeah, I like with this show, I just like the whole idea of exposing everyone to all the different tools. Some people may not resonate with certain things, or they may not agree with certain things, or certain things may not work for them. But, the emotional healing that we talk about with Gilbert Renaud, Dr. Renaud, recall healing, and you know, it's just cool. There's so many different things.
Energy healing, nutrition, frequency therapies.
Yeah.
It's just cool to expose it. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it works for everybody or that everyone should be interested in everything, but it's just putting it out there for people to make up their own minds. And
yeah, when you look at quantum mechanics, I mean, you look at everything just vibrates. Everything's just a vibration.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense. So we're going to pick up a couple of these and try them out and see what we think about all this.
I'll have to replace a little bit of our white noise machines that we play at night.
Yeah.
Maybe that's been the wrong way to be sleeping. Maybe that has done something opposite for us. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Imagine how we'll be sleeping when we utilize what I think is a very powerful tool in sleep with her product.
Yeah, really interesting. Estaria. You know, we never asked her where she got her name. I love that name.
I love her name.
That's quite a... I mean, you can't not make an impact with a name like that.
No, you can't. When you're named after a planet.
Estaryia Venus.
She did go into Venus at the end there a bit about her...
That's right.
You know, the power of Venus and what that means and how it's helped in the evolution of our world and our, you know...
And don't you think too, when she talked a little bit about how she did the colon cleansing and the raw food and stuff, it's interesting how when you start cleaning your body out like we're doing now and eating higher vibrational food that has more energy, life force coming off of it, like raw food, it's interesting how it does over time. I don't know what it does. It opens your mind or it causes you to feel things, because you and I always talk about how, you know, we feel things a lot more than we used to be able to.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's probably due to cleansing and raw food, right?
I would think. I mean, I feel like the more you clean from the inside, you're going to get the outside and the internal terrain just...
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. More cleaned out and just able to accept and receive more.
Yeah.
And have new thoughts. And I mean, I feel definitely like a whole different state than I was a couple of years ago. And
yeah, it's I think there's something to the colon cleansing and eating cleaner food.
And we've been doing quite a bit of that lately, and I feel like I'm on a different level of consciousness or whatever you want to call it, like
health
with my thoughts and health and my mental state and what I'm able to receive and kind of learn, and it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So if you want to check out her website, Estaria.com, Estaryia, and you can check that out. And she's, I think, going to be relaunching a whole new site, so stay tuned for that. And also, I want to also let you guys know, don't forget to check out that Qigong course. It's our website.com/Qigong, Qigong. That is a really, really great way to have a kind of a moving meditation where you can bring in energy to the body. Instead of doing an exercise that depletes you of energy, it's just the opposite. And you know, you could probably play some of these sounds while you're doing that, actually.
I'm sure.
That would be pretty
I'm sure.
You know, you could do that in your backyard. Grounded.
Barefoot, under the full moon.
Under the full moon.
Were you going to say that too?
Just howling at the moon. No, but check out that Qigong course. It's really awesome. Or if you just want to, if you're interested in it, but just not sure, listen to that show we did, episode 127 with Tristan Truscott. Really good show. And also don't forget to check out, if you're ever in the market for a Vitamix blender, buy it through us and we'll get a little commission. That will help support our show, and it'd be just really, really amazing if you could do that. Support our sponsors, because we really don't want to charge for this work. Everything is free. We just do this free for everyone. And all we do is just accept donations and sell products that we really believe in. So check those out. And if you like this show, please pass it on to your friends.
Please do.
If you have any
of these shows that you feel like would help somebody else out.
Yeah, definitely. If you think they might help people, just please send it to them on Facebook or however you see fit. And if there's ever anything we could do for you, just email us. We'd love to help you out. And that's about it. I think it's time for us to go make a smoothie or something.
I believe you're right. Smoothie time.
Smoothie time.
With our Vitamix.
With our Vitamix. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even as you educate yourself in the field of live food nutrition and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers or listeners medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog and during this podcast is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any of the information on this podcast or in this blog, or to start any health program without first consulting a health professional. The content found here is for informational purposes only and is in no way intended as medical advice, as a substitute for medical counseling, or as a treatment or cure for any disease or health condition, and nor should it be construed as such. Always work with a qualified health practitioner or professional